I call the Committee of Transportation and Infrastructure to order. I'd first like to welcome everyone to the organizational meeting of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in the 113th Congress. The first thing we do, since we don't have rules, I have to ask for a unanimous consent to declare a recess during today's organizational meeting. Without objection, so ordered. And I say that because we are due to have votes at probably 10:15, 10:20. So,
Mr. Chairman, would you yield first?
Yes, I certainly will yield to the
Mr. Chairman, first of all, congratulations on your chairmanship, and on behalf of the committee and in a tradition of the committee, and a gavel was presented to me when I assumed the chairmanship from the Right Honorable Mr. Nicholas Rahal, our ranking member, and it was a wonderful day to receive that from him. And now in the tradition of the committee, I've got the opportunity to pass on to you the gavel and the good wishes of all the committee, both sides. I know Mr. Rahal joins me in this. This is a special gavel, too, because this is wood from the barn of your dad's barn in Pennsylvania, and I'm sure it'll have some special meaning to you and to your family and also to our committee. And it says, Chairman Bill Shuster, Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, January 23rd, 2013. So I present this to you on behalf of the committee with our best wishes and best luck for a successful 10 years chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Chairman Micah. Actually, I have two gavels. Typical Schuster, we just won't take one, we want two. But they both have special meaning. I appreciate the Chairman Micah presenting me with the gavel. One is from a beam in our barn, which is over 150 years old. The only concern I have that my father, I think, engineered it to take the beam out. I hope the barn's still standing. And I have a second gavel that is actually from a piece of wood that every Thanksgiving we cut wood, and so I had a hand in destroying this tree. So for those in the environmental community, this is evidence. They'll say it's evidence that I hate the trees, and it's really not true. I love trees, but that's the second gavel. So, but I appreciate Chairman Micah. You're presenting it to me. And I want to thank the Hoddle family, Bruce and Dean Hoddle from the Somerset Door and Column Company in Somerset, Pennsylvania. They're the ones that created these beautiful gavels. Also, is Chairman Young here? No, he's not here.
Not yet.
I just want to thank first Chairman Micah for his guidance and support over the past several years. I couldn't have got to this position without his help and friendship. Also, Chairman Young, thank him. He's first assigned to me a committee sub-chairman several years ago, so I appreciate his support and confidence. And finally, there's a third chairman here today. It's the other Chairman Schuster, my father, who's here today. He happens to be celebrating his 81st birthday, so happy birthday, Dad. I appreciate his support and guidance, but the most important thing he ever did in his life for me was marry my mother. And she's here today, so thanks, Mom, for making the trip here. The whole family couldn't make it, but I see my brother-in-law back there, Grove Dixon, and my sister Peggy and my brother Bob are here today. So appreciate you guys making the trek down here today. So I'm the good fortune that I have three chairmen, Chairman Micah, Chairman Young, Chairman Schuster, that I can rely on for advice and guidance and support as I move forward. I can lean on them, so to speak. And a lot of people have said, Schuster, you're a lucky guy. and I am a lucky guy to have that kind of support. There's others that have said, Shuster, well, I better just leave it at the lucky part when I talk about those three chairmen. So, but it is good to have all of them here today as we open this committee up. Appreciate their support again and their guidance. Again, the freshmen, they're going to call votes, and for you freshmen, we have 9 new freshmen on the committee, which I'll introduce a little later, but don't worry about the votes when they call it. I will make sure you get to the floor in time to vote. So I know you probably have never gone from Rayburn to the Capitol, but I'll give you one piece of advice. If you follow my lead, we'll get there on time. We'll get things done. So as we leave here today, like I said, don't get panicky. We'll make sure you get over there in plenty of time to vote. It is really a great honor for me to have been selected by my colleagues to chair the committee. I really appreciate their confidence they've placed in me. I'm also incredibly proud of the piece of the 9th Congressional District and my family history to be serving at this post. I believe that, and I know that everyone on the committee believes that transportation issues are really among the most important issues and challenges that we face in this Congress and in our nation today. Infrastructure is the backbone of our economy. It supports the jobs. It creates the wealth. Every single day, people are touched by the system, and almost every American every day. And I look out in a crowd like this, and I realize everybody here today touched the transportation system. Nobody got here without it. So it's vital to us. It's vital to us to be competitive in the world, the global competition. So we got to make sure that we're doing the right things. It's long been recognized that there's a federal responsibility shared with the states in our transportation system. In fact, it's in the Constitution. That transportation is fundamental to what we do, and it's fundamental to our job as we do our job here in Congress. In fact, I like to go back to Adam Smith. Now, Adam Smith, of course, is the father of modern economics and one of the key philosophers that guided inspired our founders to write the Constitution. And Adam Smith said that the government has 3 duties. It's to provide security, preserve justice, and erect and maintain public works to facilitate commerce. So it's clear there's a federal role. It's clear we need to work closely with our states to make sure they have the flexibility to move forward. But for our country to be competitive and growing, we've got to provide the finest transportation system to the American people. I believe they deserve it, and I believe they demand it. So that'll be our charge as we move forward. And in doing so, it's very important, I believe, to work together. Transportation is not inherently partisan. In fact, it's been for years a very bipartisan subject, and this committee has worked that way, and we'll continue to try to build on bipartisanship. And I think we've done so far with my colleague from West Virginia on this rules package today. We've worked things out. And I think it takes communication, coordination, and collaboration to move forward. And the most important part of communicating, as my mother always told me, I have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You got to listen twice as much as you talk. So we'll be listening to my fellow members on the committee, to our members in Congress, and also to the stakeholders out there. We want to listen to you. We want to hear what you have to say, because you're most affected by what we do or we don't do here in this committee and in Congress. So, again, working together, I believe we can accomplish some big things. Our agenda is going to be aggressive and very, very busy. We have a WRDA bill, the Water and Resources Development Act, that has expired. We need to make sure we pass a WRDA bill. And as I was talking to my colleague from California, and she said, Mrs. Hahn, when are people going to start to say jobs and economic development and include the word ports in that? Because our ports and our inland waterways are extremely important to the economy. Important if we're going to be competitive in the world. We've got to get those products made in the interior of the country to the ports and get it out across the oceans into the world market. So it's extremely important that we focus on a WRDA bill. Next up will be a passenger rail or a rail reauthorization, a PREA bill. It expires in September, so we'll be working hard with that, focusing on passenger rail and making sure we improve the passenger rail in this country. Although we're not going to take up an FAA bill, aviation is something we're going to look at this year. Aviation is so important to this country. And it's the most regulated, deregulated industry we have in this country. We've got to find ways to make sure we can unleash our airlines and our cargo, carry passengers and cargo, make sure that they can be successful and help this economy continue to flourish. The reauthorization of the highway bill then next year comes up, and we'll start our work shortly on that. figuring out ways we can build on what Chairman Micah did in MAP 21 to continue to improve those reforms. And then, of course, we've got to figure out what we're going to do with the trust fund. We've got to be able to pay for this in a responsible way. We need to find different funding sources, new funding sources, explore the way we've been collecting the monies for the trust fund for the highway over the past 50 years or so. But we've got to come up with sources and do it in a responsible way, and I'm committed to working towards that. I believe we have an extremely talented group of people here, a great team, proven leaders, diverse backgrounds, and I'm sure we're going to all, again, work together to try to move transportation and infrastructure through this committee and through the Congress. And it's now my privilege I want to introduce, first welcome to all the members on both sides of the aisle, welcome. But it's my privilege to introduce the new members on our side of the aisle. First, a guy who was on leave and serves on the rule committees, did a great job on rules committees in his second term, Daniel Webster from Florida. Daniel, good to have you here, Dan. Thomas Massey from Kentucky. Where's Thomas? Raise your hand up so they'll get a good look at you. Steve Daines from Montana. Steve. Tom Rice, South Carolina. Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma. And that is, Mark Wayne is one word. I remind everybody that. Mark, good to have Mark Wayne, good to have you. Roger Williams from Texas. Trey Radel from Florida. Mark Meadows from North Carolina. Scott Perry from Pennsylvania. He got lost on the way down, probably. Rodney Davis from Illinois. Again, welcome to all of you. Looking forward to working with you. I also wanted to introduce the senior staff of the committee, because I know everybody's going to, it's important to figure out who these people are, because they do a lot of work behind the scenes. Chris Bertram's the staff director. Chris, is he in here? Oh, sitting next to me. Steve Martinko, deputy staff director. Jennifer Hall, legal counsel, and Jim Timon, who's still going to head the Highway and Transit Subcommittee staff director. He's also a senior advisor to me, so you tap into all the great knowledge you have. Thanks, Jim. And with that, it's my pleasure and honor to recognize the ranking member, the gentleman from West Virginia, Mr. Ray Hall.